So let's learn our full body hang, which I like to use as a therapeutic practice. And we're going to focus on the neck and shoulders and the head and our alignment like we have been, but it's the full body, hence the name, full body hang. So for the full body hang, this is great to incorporate into the standing sequence that we did yesterday. We're going to hold on to the handholds. I prefer a wrist wrap whenever physically possible. It allows us to hang with a larger joint than our fingers. And then we're going to walk it out to a sumo squat. Let's go to 9 and 3. And then we're really relaxing the shoulders, so we're letting our shoulders right up to our ears. And then we're just shifting our hips from side to side. So all the variations that we do in our sumo, we do here. But notice that we don't look down because we're keeping the crown of the head pointing towards the sky as the tailbone sinks straight down. All the alignment principles that we talked about, we're incorporating into our practice. So make sure that they stay at the forefront. Chin lifted level with the earth, gaze slightly up to the top corner of the room. Bending the knees, shifting the hips from side to side like belly dancing moves. Maybe try dropping the ear to shoulder. See how that feels. There's little micro movements, changes everything. So amazing. Just practice looking up. If you can, that's the biggest cue for people. It really is amazing. And then let's add a twist. So we're looking over to the right out the windows. And then other way, adding a twist, looking to the left. Okay, now we're going to step both feet over to the left. And then step your left foot back behind you for a different twist. I call these helicopter spins. Okay, look back towards your right armpit, other one. So we're wringing out the spine. Okay, so look towards me. We're going to pick up our feet and wind up on the other side of the mat. So that's the helicopter part. Right, so our toes are tracing the shape of the mat. Where we landed at 9 and 3, look at your left armpit. Okay, pay attention to the crown of the head. Pick up the feet, spin it out. Helicopter spins. And one more time. Legs wide. Yay, good. Lift back underneath your armpit. So good. Okay, let's come on back to our sumo. We're going to do our extended version today, so let's take a break and shake it out in between because it will be very intense for people. And just even all of that tractioning changes the collarbones, changes the whole position up here, so we want to take breaks in between. The other thing I like to do from the full body hang, once the hands get a little tired, is switch to the top of the leg loop. Maybe holding on with the hands is not available. Sometimes this position is really uncomfortable for a shoulder injury, so they might not be ready for that. So we're not going to do that same sequence, but we're going to do another sequence instead, where you can add this onto, is holding on to the nub, just one side of the leg loop. Call it the nub where the fabric meets the webbing. You're going to come into a bicep curl and then a low hang. Right? So in this one, I like to engage my shoulders. You can do shoulders up, shoulders down, so you can show them the difference. Right? Good. Then we're going to come into a bicep curl behind the swing, and at the same time a leg press. So bicep curl, leg press. And maybe they could do all legs and do little pulses here, right? Or they could do all arms and really work on doing some pull-ups. Usually half legs, half arms will do the trick. But there's lots of different variations that you can do there. You can come forward and back and come out and back and up and out and back and down. Lots of different variations. Before our hands give out, let's just do a little low belly dancing move from side to side. Oh, feel the subscap. Feel that area underneath the armpit and how it stretches. It's pretty amazing. And then we're going to bicep curl back up in front. Wearing the little hat. Okay, the last part was we can use the leg loops in our hands. We're obviously doing a lot more upper body now, right? Because we're Can't really isolate or separate a part of the body, but we're gonna do more arms here too. So I'm in a nice wide sumo, and I'm gonna keep my arms strong and engaged, and I'm just gonna press, 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 press. Wider with the feet, Selena, so you have a little bit more room. And you guys are doing great, but notice my pillar. Okay, I'm not head diving in any of these poses. It's not our normal squats where people do this, right? Straight up and down, really engaging with the arms. Press, press, press. Awesome, that's it. That's a really great way to start working arms and legs together. So that's why I call it full body. Okay, let's come into a triangle pose. So we're gonna stand in the center of the mat, reach up and grab for just one hand hold using your wrist wrap. Like I said, this is the longer version. Sometimes when I do the full body hang, I'll just do the sumo with some twists and then move on. And I'm showing you everything we can do from standing. We're gonna step it back out into a wide straddle. I'm gonna turn my left toes out. I'm gonna drop, really important to keep the chin level, drop left ear with left shoulder, and then the left arm is going to dangle into a T. I'm going to kind of kink my hips out to the side. Really feel the weight of your head stretching your neck. Sometimes I'll do these little micro movements where I roll my head around. Most people look down. We're not looking down. That part is already kind of stretched. You can try it, but I'm gonna work on just rotating here. I'm gonna show you guys a little bit more hands-on that I do with people. So usually when I'm in a private session, I'll come over and place one hand right by their ear, and the other hand, I'm just getting into that tight line and helping them stretch it. And you don't wanna go too far into this pose because it's usually pretty tender in there and tight. But it helps to just get a little extra stretch. Does that feel okay? So then try to find that line on your own, because that's the tight spot. You can use your own hand, but it's not quite the same as a friend. Come on up, shake your hands out. We're gonna come back into it a few times. It's really strong on the hands. It's kind of like rock climbing. You just gotta get used to it, you know? Or take frequent breaks. Let's try for the left hand hold, wide straddle, turn the right toes out to a T with the arms, kink the hips out to the side. You're not gonna come down very far. What we're looking for is this whole stretch. Practice rotating like cool Jesus, your thumb up towards the sky like we do in all the other poses. That's gonna change the alignment of the shoulder. And then drop. Ear straight down, chin stays slightly lifted. Roll your head around just a little bit to feel that line of energy. Nice strong T with the arms, so that arm is engaged, pulling out. Yeah. So amazing. See if you can give yourself that little adjustment or stretch, very gently, opening it up. You might get an adjustment in the neck. This is usually how I adjust my neck, which is pretty amazing. Can you guys feel that tight spot in there? Yeah, it's pretty intense. Whew. Oh. Come on up. Let's try, we're gonna come into a plank pose. So usually what I'll do is, because the first round is just to get the surface charge off, right? It's just like, now the next round we can go a little bit deeper now that the muscles can move, because they're not being like suffocated by all that connective tissue, hopefully. And then, yeah, when I do private sessions, I do a lot of hands-on and coming over and helping things, manipulating things, but see if you can get it with your own hands. Triangle pose. Don't pull too hard though, because force does not work. We're kind of coaxing the body open. And then if you want a deeper expression, we're going to step both feet over to the right and come into a plank. And then you can drop the hips and lift the hips, ear to shoulder the whole time if you can, to keep that stretch. And feel how that changes everything. You have more weight in the right arm now. Sometimes I like rotating my chest towards the sky and rotating my chest down, and notice how that changes things. There's a lot of play here. You can even take your right foot and step back behind you like you're coming into Virabhadrasana. Arch and open. Yeah. All right, step it out wide, come through center, shake it out. How did that feel?
Yummy.
Good. Glad you guys are liking it. Maybe roll the shoulders around a little bit to have the reset. Usually, so I do a lot of wiggling in my personal practice. So typically we would get into swagger or windshield wipers or something in between to reset. So since we're standing, just roll it around to see, what does that feel like? Just let it move. What I find, and this is just me, I get it, but I kept injuring myself in yoga. I was injuring myself before that, just to be fair. But I usually would push too far and do too much, which is my personality. But in these linear movements, it locks the tension in the joints. So my joints were getting strained. When we're working with the spiral dynamics and moving the energy around, we're releasing the energy from the joints so it doesn't get locked in. So that's why it works for me and my body, and how I need to do these kind of undulations to unlock the tension. So it's really helpful. So just notice that, because if somebody's like in a warrior one, you know, and it's just all locked up, as opposed to being like in a warrior one pose where it's fluid and moving and breathing, it just tends to strain the joints when it's locked up like that. Mm-hmm. Some people do fare very well with those poses. My particular body needs to spiral it out. So just think about that in between, which is why we always go into a swagger or weeping willow or windshield wipers or something to just move the energy out, change the pattern. Okay, last one. Make sure the thumb is turned up towards the sky. Notice when you roll your thumb towards me, it closes the shoulder. When you roll your thumb up, it opens the shoulder. Okay, we're going to be working with the external and internal spirals today, but just kind of get that into the memory. Dropping the hand down, stretching it out, ear to shoulder, stretch, 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 a little bit of a bigger expression here, and then step both feet over to the left for plank. Keep the pose, but drop the hips and lift the hips, and notice how different it is, right? We're right on the 9-3 axes, so your hand's going out to 9 o'clock for me, 3 o'clock for you. And so make sure that we're keeping our alignment through all these, right? Beautiful. Lifting, maybe roll your chest towards the ground, roll it up towards the sky, rotate back and forth to see what that feels like, and then you can even practice stepping your left foot back behind you. Right arm can come up overhead, and just notice what that's like and how that changes things. Play with it. The most important thing is that we're getting this tractioning through the arm, into the shoulder, into the neck, and feeling the connection there. Right? Maybe even a side tree. Just try it. Ear to shoulder. Intense, yeah? With the hand pulling down, that's really cool. So yeah, infinite ways to play in terms of translating all of our standing poses into the swing. And that was just incorporating the hand hold. We haven't done a lot of hand holds. That's why I wanted to show you the full body hang, because we use the hand holds quite a bit in the acrobatics and when we come into high flyers, when we come up a level. But we can use the hand holds just by themselves and get a really great full body stretch. Okay? Anything you guys want me to repeat on that before we move on?
No, you're indexing it, right?
Watch it later.
No need.
Okay, here we go.